With all my heart, I'd love to tell you that this is what it's like for me every day, that I'm centered, I feel wonderful, depression doesn't ever hit me, life just keeps moving along, and recovery has just been glorious, but that just ain't true. But I'd like to tell you one other thing. Hi, everybody. Kevin Barhyde here. Thanks for tuning in. There's one thing I can tell you. There have been days that have been hard in my life, and I'm not there today. I have to remember that, because sometimes it's not enough to remember it's going to be okay tomorrow. I have to remember where I was, not just 34 years ago, not just 44 years ago when things were really awful, and not just 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. I have to remember every piece of the way, not just the stuff before when it was awfully horrible, but in recovery, as I emerged into recovery, as recovery took over my life and propelled me forward, there were still hard days. There were still struggles. There were still moments when I didn't think, oh my gosh, is this ever going to get better? Am I ever going to get through this? Am I ever going to master this? And I have to remember that I learned from each one of those days, each one of those steps along the way. Every twist and turn, every up and down taught me something. And one of the things that taught me more than anything else was, don't worry about tomorrow. Be right here in the moment. Be right here in today. But that doesn't really help, does it, when I'm feeling down? That doesn't make me feel better when I'm depressed. And I did feel depressed today. And I felt depressed yesterday. And I felt like I was really struggling these last few days. And I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get this video up and running. So how did I get here? How did this happen right now? Because this isn't later. This is right now. If you're watching this on Wednesday, that means number one, I finished this video. Number two, I've spent a couple of days editing it and getting it ready for you. And number three, I pushed that button and I said publish and I launched it. And you're watching it now. There is one thing though that you probably know about if you've been tracking the videos. I have been on a search for my biological father. And I've reached out recently over the last couple of weeks and I haven't gotten a response back. Now, I've been doing really well with that. I've been spending time recognizing that this is part of the process. I've been spending time feeling like, yeah, I'm not getting a response, but let's just leave it in God's hands. Let's trust the process. Let's trust the time. And that really does help. But still, there's a part of me that's wired for abandonment, isn't there? There's a part of me that feels that lack of response as a lack of worth. There's a part of me that also thinks that maybe I'll never get to see my biological father. I'll never get to see my family. Maybe they'll never talk to me. I'll never hear their voice. All those things can go in my head at any given time, but how do I get from there and through all this to here right now? And one of the keys has been, over the past 34 years, I've had some practices in place that prepare me for whatever comes next, that prepare me for the ups and downs of my day. So that when I do feel depressed, I know that I've still got a foundation that I'm standing on. Even if I feel down, I know that the foundation underneath me is firm. And that foundation is based on my 5 pillars, and I'll put a link here and a link below. You'll see it come down right now if I can get it to time just right. And click on that if you want to start learning about the 5 pillars. But if you've already gone through them, you know what they are. I go to meetings on a regular basis. I have a sponsor. I work the steps with that sponsor. I do service, and I have a higher power in my life. And those things are non-negotiable. Those are the things of my recovery. It's part of my community. It's what I do in community with you and with others that really sets me on a firm foundation, so that when I'm feeling down like this, I know that the history is in place. I know that the practices are there. So now I've got that foundation, but you and I both know, great, now I'm standing on a firm foundation, but now what do I do? I'm standing on this foundation, but I'm still feeling down. What do I do? What's the action that I can take? In the 12-step world, we have a way of saying it, and you may know it. Do the next sober thing. All day today, every moment of my day, even if I was feeling down and struggling, I tried to do the next sober thing. And the same thing yesterday. I woke up in the morning and I said, what do I need to do? I'm feeling down, I'm struggling, I'm not feeling myself. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I know my foundation is solid and I need to do the next sober thing. Now for me, that means very specifically, I knew to go to a meeting yesterday. I knew to reach out and have a one-on-one with someone that I know in the program and have some time together. I know how to do this in community. There are things that I do that mean specifically working my program. But there's more than that to me. I know that, sure, I can go to meetings. I know that I can work the steps. I know that I can work with other people in the program, but it's important that I practice these principles with my wife, with my children. I need to be kind. I need to be helpful. I need to be spiritually centered in every moment of the day. When I'm with them and I'm feeling down, I have to remember that's not their fault. That's not their responsibility. It's my responsibility. Maybe I will talk to them about it. Maybe I will share the struggle with them. But more than anything else, I'm going to do the dishes. More than anything else, I'm going to have dinner and I'm going to lift my head up and have some conversation. I'm going to share moments with my family. Maybe I'm going to call somebody that I haven't talked to in a while and I'm going to reach out and see how they're doing. The next sober thing. Maybe in your world it's not a sober thing. Maybe in your world it's the next helpful thing, the next right thing, the next kind thing, the next spiritual thing, the next thing that you know is in line with your own principles, who you are, what you want to be, what you're trying to strive to become. Because I know that's what it's about for me. I'm not there yet, but I want to do the next sober thing so I can get there, so I can get to the next step, so I can practice this spiritual progress in my life. And that's the other piece. How did I get here today? I trusted in my higher power. That's how I got here. I trusted in my higher power to be able to do the next sober thing, do the next kind thing, do the next right thing, the next purposeful thing in my life, so that the foundation that I'm standing on actually is something that I'm building from. Not that I'm just standing on and waiting, because I want my life to be reflective of that. And I know that it won't always be easy. I'm coming up on an anniversary, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm struggling this time. This time 10 years ago is when my father got very ill. July and then August and September were some of the worst months. And he died in October. And so October seems like the big date, yeah? That October when he passed away, that would be the moment that I would really feel sad, but it was when he was sick that it really nailed me. And so when the seasons change like this, it tends to pound on my heart a little bit. It tends to really twist me up. But one of the things I remember is that after my father did pass, I thought I did well with it. And there's another video about this. But I didn't do that well afterwards. And depression took hold. One of the worst depressions, probably almost one of the only depressions I remember in my life. That just knocked me down to the ground and I couldn't get back up. But there was a moment, and this is key, for how I got here today to talk to you about this. There was a moment, even after the days that went by, days, weeks, and then months of feeling like, I can't do this. I can't be here anymore. And I was having suicidal thoughts, and I was ready to check out because I just couldn't hold my head up anymore. And I remember sitting in the parking lot in Barnes & Noble's. It's 10 minutes away from here. And I said, I can't do this anymore. What do I do? And I just thought about Jim. And Jim is someone that I've known for many years. Hi, Jim. And I called him. And for the first time in all that time, I said the words, I've been having suicidal thoughts. I've been feeling depressed, and I don't know what to do. And Jim's been my friend for over 30 years, and he and his wife, Leah, hi Leah, sat right next to each other late at night as I called them and talked me through it. And I can tell you today, more than anything else that's true in my life, I haven't had another suicidal thought since that day. And I was gone. I was ready. And I was horribly depressed. The depression didn't lift right away. Everything didn't get better, but I'm here to tell you that it did get better. I moved on with my life with the help of my friend Jim, with Leo, with my wife, with my family, with therapy, with some other help, some outside help that I needed, working the 12 steps with my foundation intact. And I'm here to tell you today that I learned from that. I learned that when I'm down, not only can I really look back and rely on the fact that I've been through tough stuff before and I'll be okay. Not only can I rely on the foundation that I've laid for myself, that I know it's firm and I know I've been doing that work. Because when I was that depressed, that was all there. And yet I couldn't get past what I was feeling. I couldn't get past this depression, this very, very terrible mourning and soul-crushing grief until I told somebody about it. Until I talked to somebody about it. until I opened my mouth and said, I'm having suicidal thoughts. I am feeling terribly depressed. And once I said the words, the miracle happened for me. Not all at once, not in one day. It took some time. But I turned that corner, and that's exactly how I got here today. All those pieces come into play for me. This is all of what it means to me to continually emerge into recovery, to continually grow in my own understanding of how hard it can be some days, and yet how much strength I've got, how much courage that it takes, and how much I don't have to do this alone. We're going to do this together. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to shape this. We're going to continue to do the next sober thing. We're going to do it in community. I'm really grateful that we got to spend the time today. If you can, please like this video. Please share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. And the comments section down below means the world to me. Follow me on Twitter. Find me in other places. Let's keep this going. Let's build this community. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Take care.